Amoroso. Okay, the band's gonna take a break, but first we're gonna do something. Who's out there? Let's see. Matthew, would you hand me that? You know, back in about 1965 or so, a very good friend of mine had a band called Jimmy and the Offbeats. And he used to announce, ladies and gentlemen, before we go to break, the finest drummer in the South, Mr. Jerry Amoroso. You remember that, huh, Jerry?
What can I say?
That was a real hard rock band called Jimmy and the Offbeats. Jerry, why don't you come up here and join us? I think it's time we do a little business. I started to say earlier, let me say it now. Years ago, a promoter, club owner named Jim Brown, who has left us, great guy. Jim put together a concept to build a new band. And he worked it out with WLCS Radio, 910 AM. Y'all remember WLCS? And they had a band called the Nameless Faces. Don't name that face. And as it came together, a couple of groups like Jimmy and the Offbeats drummer, the Basement Wall, a couple of people from the old band called the Basement Wall, they became the chosen people for the Nameless Faces. And as it turned out, there was a Name the Band contest. And they named the band Potliquor. You can jump in, Jerry, it's okay.
I'm just listening, taking it on.
I know your throat's out.
I need to know this story.
Yeah, I think you do know this story. But some of them probably don't. Like David. David's too young to remember that. Yeah, right.
Well, okay.
Joe remembers.
I'll just tell him he auditioned drummers and bass players and guitar players and keyboard players all over from the state to wherever he could bring them in from. And the last spot was to fill the drum spot, so I was blessed enough to get the drum spot. And then we recorded our first album and sold it on the first record company that we went to, Janus Records. A little bit of help from Mr. Alan Toussaint at the time. Introduced Jim Brown, who was our manager. We missed him very much. Jim got laid to rest in an automobile accident. And went on to do one second album, hit the charts, national charts. It's a lot of fun going to New York City and seeing your picture up in Times Square. And then going to LA and seeing your picture on the side of all the city buses. Then we did our third album, and Jim got killed, sorry to say. And we actually did a fourth album in Seattle, Washington, that did not come out. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
And
you didn't tell Hassel.
It was Danny Kaye, the comedian from back then. It was in his studio, K. Smith Studios. We were in one studio, Tower of Power was in the other. And then I went on to land the Capitol deal, which is most of the songs that you've heard tonight from the last album. And the rest is history. We played for a long time. We toured with Rod Stewart and anybody that you can think of, Aerosmith. We did gigs with them, Cheap Trick, you name it. We were there. We had fun. You can jump in here anytime you want to.
You were rolling pretty good. I'm trying to see what you may have missed. You missed the Allman Brothers. Many of you may have seen the picture up on the internet. That was a Bill Johnston, dear friend of mine who passed several months ago. They had the Warehouse. He'd had that at City Park in New Orleans, and if I remember right, the Allman Brothers were the opening act, weren't they?
That's correct.
And they were actually on stage. That was Potliquor's stage in that picture, with Dickie Betts added on guitar and Greg Allman added over on the keyboard. And you know, you said Jim couldn't be with us tonight. We lost him many years ago. I actually got to work with Jim on a thing called the Festival of Man and Earth. That came up earlier on Facebook. which was a pop festival in Denham Springs of all places. But we do have some people here, there you go, that remember that. In fact, we got a few Hall of Famers here. SJ and Mickey Montalbano out here. Joe Shabe, who promoted back in the day, along with his brothers. Lynn Orso. Lynn's back there someplace. Wave your ear, Lynn. The music commissioner for 30 some odd years for the state of Louisiana. Bill Evans created Studio in the Country over in Bogalusa, recorded some of the songs you heard tonight. One of the greatest engineers in our state's history. So give a shout out to Bill. But I think maybe it's time that Jerry say something else, obviously.
Yeah, I want to thank some people, and it's always dangerous to start thanking people because you know you're going to leave some people out, and please don't be offended if I leave you out. I thank you all.
Don't leave that house. He needs the love.
First off, I want to thank God for giving me the talent. And I mean that from here. He gave me the talent. I want to thank SJ and I want to thank Mickey Montalbano because when I was in lower grades of high school, they gave me the chance to record in their studio. I knew what I wanted to do from about the age of 4. One time I found a guitar neck, just the neck of a guitar, and I carried that thing around looking like an idiot for 5 or 6 years, just carrying around a guitar neck. And so I knew what I wanted to do. And Mickey,
that's
SJ.
Why you ended up on drums.
Thank you. Right. Thank you for giving me the chance, along with Tommy Garina back then, and Bob Robin, a whole bunch of people. Jim Brown, of course. I love Jim deeply. He left us. I want to thank my son Joe for giving me encouragement. I want to thank my beautiful daughter Jessica. They're both beautiful for giving me encouragement. And Nick and Christy, their mates. Bill Evans, where are you, Bill Evans? Blue, thank you so much. Just, you know how much I care about you. There you are. Thank you, Blue. We did our last album in Studio in the Country, Blue Evans. Joe and Irwin Shabe, when I decided to get out of music, Joe, thank you for giving me an opportunity, letting me work, and thank you for encouraging me to stay in the music business and to do what I actually did tonight. I want to thank Mike Shepard. I want to thank Del Moon.
Del Moon's here. I forgot Del. That's one of our board members with the Hall of Fame. Where you at, Del? Oh my God. Everybody's sneaking up on this side.
I want to thank David and John Fabry for giving me a job, working with me and encouraging me. Patrick Robinson, a good friend of mine, Richard Beatty, Mike McQuaig, guitar player, Steve Sather, guitar player, Steve Gunner, let's hear it for these guys, Steve Gunner, guitar player, Hassel Tinkle on keyboards, Terry Granier for filling in on bass, Rusty Yates for filling in at the last minute on George's vocals, Jeff Yates for encouragement, George Ratzlaff, I don't know where you are, but have a good time. Guy Schaefer, our bass player, you need to keep him in your prayers. Guy's had some real physical difficulties fighting the big C. He's doing much better. He's coming along. Les Wallace, Leon Medica, Jimmy and Cindy from Club Kuzan, thank you so much for the accommodations and for letting us practice all week.
Big thanks to Jimmy.
David Norman, Matthew Schlinker, thank y'all so much for taking the pictures. Thank y'all for all being here, and thank you, Mike Shepard,
you think
for
I should
heading
give
this
him
whole
something
thing.
now? You think I should give him something now since he's
Take
thanked
it.
everybody?
Take it, Mike.
Well, I'll just keep it. I'll just keep him.
I got one thing to say, and
What?
it just goes from me not being an original member, but there's one person here tonight. I want to dedicate my night to her, because if it wasn't for her, I would not be with these guys, and I would not be associated with this, and I wouldn't have a beautiful daughter either, because I would have never moved to Louisiana, I can tell you that. And there she is. That's Jennifer. That's my little girl there. But anyway, I just want to thank Pam for nominating me to be here and calling this guy, because if it wasn't fit for him and he hadn't called her and her called me, I wouldn't be here. Thank you.
Now, can y'all see this out there? There was a little dissension when we posted the certificate from the governor. You know, politics has nothing to do with this. This is about the sitting governor of the state acknowledging some of our musicians for their contributions and for what they have done, and nothing more. This is not politics, this is music, folks. They don't go together that well. Jerry has been the leader of this band for many years. And we want to present first to Jerry. Steve, either one.
What's his last name?
Okay, Steve, other one.
Amoroso.
Hassel. Yeah, there you go. Michael. And Hassel, you're going to get a second one. Because this one is going on Hassel's way back to Shreveport. Yeah, to Guy Schaefer. So, with this, I want to very, very proudly welcome Potliquor into the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame. Give him a big hand.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, y'all don't go away. Not the band, not the crowd. We're gonna do that in just a second, David. Nobody go away, because we're gonna take a little break, and y'all are all gonna be back, right? With another set of Potliquor material. So, y'all enjoy, get ready for another set, and if you bought a poster, you might want to chase them down now and see about meet and greet. And if you are smoking, please, we're doing non-smoking, so, you know, head outside, take a break, smoke, and come on back. And again, I want to especially thank Miss Cindy and Mr. Jimmy Lassane for helping us with the Hall of Fame, giving us a place to do good shows, bring people in. Thank you, Jimmy. Give it up one more time for Potliquor.
I got to tell you one more thing.
Oh, you again.
You know, I thanked my family, I thanked my beautiful son, my beautiful daughter for encouraging me. But nobody in the world deserves more thanks than my wife Alice
Oh,
for staying with me.
that was a good call. That was a good call.
She is a saint for staying with
Alice.
this guy.
Let them know who you
I
are.
love you dearly.
Yes. Amen. Oh, Hassel's got one too?
Yeah, I was a young man when I joined this band in 1979, I believe. At 21 years old, I'm still the youngest guy in the band. But what differentiates me from the rest of the guys, I'm the only one that's not eligible for Social Security yet.